So let's try example 2 now. It says graph the linear equation. So you must graph, identify the slopes and y-intercepts. Wherever you see the word slopes, you need to put m, and y-intercepts is your b in the equation, right? So let's start with our slope. Look at what the slope is. Slope is basically your coefficient of your x. So what is the coefficient here? 1, right? It's positive 1. And what is my y-intercept? There's nothing, means it's 0. So my slope is 1, right? Let's write it as a fraction, 1 over 1. So it's going to be up 1 over 1, right? If you want to put those arrows, those might help someone. And my y-intercept is what? 0. So now what did we say in the beginning of the lesson? That I said begin with your b, move with your n. So that is one way. You can always go to your calculator and put it in y equals, and that will give you the point. Look at the table. But since we don't have access to the calculator, how do you graph the equation, right? So you start with your b, which is 0, 0, right? And now you're going to do what? Your slope is up 1 over 1. It's positive, right? So these are your points. Up 1 over 1. And if I'm going down, I'm going to reverse the order, right? So that is a decent line. Those are enough points. Connect those points. Make sure there are arrows in the end. And that is what your equation will look like, right? So label your equation always. Sorry, that's what your line looks like, not the equation. And label your line always, right? Okay, so now let's start the next one. Think about it again. It says y equals negative 3. The x term is missing. If the x term is missing, it means what? There is no slope. The slope is 0, right? If you were thinking that, that's awesome. There's no x term, so your slope is 0. Your b is what? Negative 3. So let's go to b. Your b is negative 3, which I already plotted. And now what do? There's no slope, so there's no rise over run. So I am just plotting these points to the left of negative 3 and to the right of negative 3, right? On both either sides. So basically, y equals negative 3 is y equals, as always remember, is a horizontal line. This is y equals negative 3, right? So you want to write that, maybe make a note. Y equals a number is always a horizontal line. Think of the horizon. Horizon is horizontal, so horizontal line. That's up. Right? This is something you need to remember. This is something for your notes. Like anytime you should be able to just look at it. And slope is what? 0. Because the x term is missing, right? Okay. So now let's do the next one. C. X equals to. Okay. This is something you can't put in the calculator. What happens here? Take a moment, pause the video, see if you can figure it out, and then we'll go over it. Okay, so what is the slope here? First of all, this equation, if you have not noticed, it is not y equals, right? It is what? X equals means your slope is what? Undefined here. There's no slope. So undefined. Whenever you have x equals a number, your slope is undefined, and your b is, it is not applicable. There's no b here because there's no y value, right? B is your y-intercept, so none. You can just write that down. And x equals 2 is a vertical line passing through, it's this line, 2. And that's x equals 2. So let's make a note here. X equals a number, any number. It could be 3, 4, 5. You're just gonna, it's gonna be, is always, I'm gonna write always in caps. Oh, I said in caps. Always a vertical line. Okay, so I'm hoping you remember this from Algebra 1. If not, this is a good review lesson. You need to be very thorough with this. So can we conclude here? Look here, we have done a few equations. you read your graphs from left to right, right? If your line was going up, what kind of slope? Think about it. If everything in life is going happy, it's going up, it means what? Positive slope. If a line is going down, how do we read lines, or how do we read graphs? Left to right. Your slope is going to be negative. And if there is no change, the slope is, I'm just going to write m equals, it'll be positive, m will be negative, and m will be always 0. And if it's a vertical line, oops, if it's a vertical line, your m is what? Undefined. Okay, so if you remember this picture that we sketched here, it will help you a lot. Okay, so try to remember this. Okay, so now let's move on to example 3. Again, I'll say try example 3 on your own and see where you go from there. So this question is saying write the equation of the graphed lines below. This picture that we just drew will really help you with the understanding of the equation of a line. This will help you coming up with the equation of the line. So now you need two things to write the equation, the m and the b. So what's your m? Right, m is what? Rise over run. So let's write this here, rise over run. Some of you might be thinking, so first of all, think about it. Is the equation, reading your graph left to right, is the line going down or up? It's going down, right? If I was to trace it, I'm just going to try to trace it. It is going down, right? I don't need it, so I'm just going to erase that. So it's going down, so it's going to be negative something, right? And now what is the rise over run? You can pick any 2 points. It does not matter. Again, I will reiterate that all you need to do is pick the points that are what? On the corners, on the graph, right? On the corner of the lines, not in between the line. Like this is a good point, and what is the other point? This. So what am I rising? I rose up 2 over 1, and check with another point, up 2 over 1, isn't it? 2 1 2 1. It should be the same pattern no matter where I go. Look, it makes like a staircase. 2 1, right? So what's your slope? It's -2, which is what? -2, right? Now let's write our b. What's my b? My b is my y-intercept. This is my black line, and where is it crossing the y-axis? At this point. What is that point? Count it. 1 2 3 4, -5. So that is -5, right? So I know my two things, and now I'm going to write the equation of the line. Your equation is y equals, your m is what? -2 x minus 5. And that's your equation of this line. Again, pause the video, try the next one. Read your graph or your line from left to right. What is it? Positive, or is it going up or down? It's going up, so it's a positive slope. So it's going to be something positive. And pick 2 points on this, right? So let's pick this point. This is 1 point. I'm going up 1 over 2, right? See that? Up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. And so my slope is what? Rise over run, which is 1 over 2. Now, what is my b? My b is my y-intercept. Where is the graph crossing the y-axis? At -1. So you know your two things, and you can come up with your equation, which is y equals 1/2 x minus 1. And that's your equation, right? So let's move on to the next page. Example 4. It says using substitution. So substitution means what? You have to plug in. This is what should come to your mind. Substitution means plug in, right? Determine whether or not the point -2 5 is on the line. How do you determine that? Okay, any point when we talk about, the first number tells me my x-coordinate, the second number tells me my y-coordinate. All you need to do is substitute the x and y into the equation, right? So my y was 5 equals -2 times -2 plus 1. You're not moving anything. It's like a question mark here. You're checking whether the left side is equal to the right. So there's nothing to do on the left side. Simplify this. -2 times -2 is positive. 4 plus 1 is 5. So they are equal. So what do you say? Yes, the point is on the graph. So let's write that down. Yes, the point. What was the point? -2, 5 is on the graph. Right? You could have used your calculator to check it too, but you needed to show that work. Okay, so the next question says, how could you check the answer on your calculator? So what would we say? Type the function into y equals y1 equals, and look at the table. Right? So you basically are going to type it into y equals, y1 equals, and then you go to the table, and this point should be in the table. You can look it up. Okay? So if you have a calculator, you can definitely check with that. So let's move down. Example 5. Again, pause the video and try this question by yourself. It says, write the equation. Again, what is the equation? Your equation is y equals mx plus b of the line that passes through the given point and has a slope. So we know our point is x and y, and we already know our slope. What do we need? We need two things, right? We need our m and we need our b. We already know our m. That's a check. We need to find our b. How can I find my b? If I substitute everything into my equation, right? X, y, and m. Can I not solve for b? So let's do that. So substitute y is -6 equals m is -3 times 4 plus b. -6 equals -12 plus b. Add 12 and you get what? B is equal to 6. I'm not done here. Please be careful. I just found b. I don't want b. I need to write the equation. You need two things. Again, what are the two things? You need y equals, my slope is what? -3. The minute you write -3, you should think in your head, oh, the line should be going down. Okay, these are few things that you need to think ahead. You need to question, why am I writing this? Because the question asked me, right? Or how am I getting these numbers? That should always be a question in your mind. Again, equation, this is your x comma y, and this is your slope. M is your slope, right? So write your equation. Your standard form is y equals mx plus b. You know your m is what? 2. Your y is -1 equals 2 times 3 plus b, which is what? -1 equals 6 plus b. Subtract 6 on both sides. You get what? B is equal to -7. So now you want to write the equation. Your equation is y equals, you need your m, which is 2x minus 7. So that's your equation for this point and given slope. Okay, so now the next question that we want to talk about is example 6. And example 6, I'm sure you must have, I don't know if you remember it. Do you remember the slope formula? It says write the equation of the line passing through the points. So what's the slope formula? I know we talked about slope being rise over run. So now let's do this. What is the slope formula? Slope is using letter M. Think about it. You always stand up first and then you start walking, right? So always the y over the x. So it's the rise over the run, which is y2 minus y1. y2, y1 are just points over x2 minus x1, right? It's just the rise over the run. So this is, if you consider this point to be x1, this is going to be y1. The corresponding is y1. This is x2 and this is y2. Now all you need to do is substitute into the formula and find your slope, right? Because slope is the first thing that we need to find. So what is it? 7. y2 is 7 minus -3. You can use your calculator or use your knowledge of integers. And 5 minus 4. Even your calculator on your phones can help you with this, right? What is 7 minus -3 is 10 over 1, which is 10. Positive slope means what? Line will be going up, right? So these are a few things. Although it's not asking me to graph it, you should be able to think. Now I want to find B, right? So now you know how we found B in the previous questions, right? If you have a point, so pick any point. I'm going to pick, I don't like negatives, so I'm going to pick 5 and 7. I'm going to substitute that in here for y and x, and I'm going to use this slope and find my B. So my y is 7 is equal to 10 times 5 plus b. 10 times 5 is 50 plus b. Subtract 50. What do I get? B is equal to -43. Now I have my b. I have my slope, right? And so I can write down the equation. So it's y equals, it's mx plus b, so 10x minus 43. And that is your equation for these 2 points, right? And I hope this lesson helped you. If you have any questions, go back, watch the video again, practice these questions, redo these questions, and your independent practice is your homework. And don't forget to upload it onto the Canvas website. Have a great day. Bye-bye.